All right. Welcome again, everyone. If you're new to our Kitchen Intuition cooking classes, these classes are meant to be a fun way for us to all experiment in the kitchen, experiment with new fun and simple recipes together. We are not professional chefs here, so we are learning alongside you all. So feel free to ask questions, share stories, and just have fun with us. So today's recipe is a root vegetable chili, and it's showcasing a lot of winter root vegetables, many of which we either grow at Just Roots or have grown in past years. And it's a good recipe for this time of year because we're in that period where we're starting to use up the end of root vegetables that have been in storage for a while, but it's still too early for anything like coming out of the ground. Everything's still frozen. So this is a good way to get some really hearty, nutritious root vegetables into your diet, and also kind of like sneak them into dishes that you may be more familiar with, like a chili. So I'm gonna start off by making sure we all have the right ingredients, as well as the equipment that you'll need. So we've got turnips today. I tried to give everyone roughly the same size turnip, so roughly half a pound, but it doesn't need to be exact, so you can just use the whole turnip that you got in your kit. Carrots, and also if you want to supplement with other carrots as well, your rainbow carrots, by all means, please do. And then the cousin of carrots, we've got some parsnips here, and a sweet potato, onion, and 3 cloves of garlic. Whoop. Right there. Some veggie broth, black beans, tomatoes, half a cup of rice. I believe everyone received brown rice. There may be some folks that received white rice, just due to supply shortages. So I'll go over the different cooking times for that when we get to that point. And then you all should have some spice packets of cumin, oregano, and chili powder. And these are all pre-measured for you. A lime and some cilantro. So that should be about everything. Oh, and a little bit of olive oil. And then as far as tools, you'll just need a large pot, a knife and a cutting board, and
no, I'm down now.
All right, so the first thing we're going to start with, we're going to actually cut the sweet potato first. So some of you may have already finished chopping your vegetables, and that's totally fine. I'm going to show you how to cut vegetables in a slightly more efficient way so that you can do it a little bit faster. So I'm holding it lengthwise, and I'm going to just cut like long slabs.
If the cutting board there is clean, yeah, then you can use it.
Yep. I'm not seeing your cutting board. Oh, I see it. I found it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and please feel free to stop me and ask questions at any point. So I'm cutting them into these like long slabs. I'm gonna turn this one this way.
I think you should wash if it needs to be rinsed off.
No, it's got some like just some there and there on the edge of it.
And then I'm gonna flip these slices of sweet potato over. Oh, we got someone in the waiting room. Just gonna let them in real quick. And I'm gonna slice thinner strips about 1/4 of an inch wide. It's almost like French fries.
You want me to cut the sweet potato?
Sure.
And then I'm gonna turn them 90 degrees.
Room here.
And then I'm gonna chop them into little cubes of about, again, 1/4 of an inch wide.
And then
1/4 to 1/2 an inch.
I'll
Doesn't
do
have to
the
be exact.
Ali? I think he's not muted.
And then I'm just gonna repeat that with the remaining pieces. Right. So now we've got our sweet potato cut. How's everyone doing on the sweet potato?
For me and Tyler, it's in process, but Tyler's cut it so I can cut up the next vegetable.
Gotcha.
I have a question.
Sure.
Question. I have never liked turnips. Can I use a beet instead?
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, if there's any vegetable in here that you know you really don't want, feel free to switch it out with something else. And
Okay.
it would be a great addition. So I've got about 1.5 cups of chopped sweet potato now. And now I'm going to move on to onion.
I have a question.
Yeah. I'm
running out of space on my cutting board. Where should I put my sweet potato in? Where's it going? Like right into the pot, into a bowl?
That's a great question. I have a large bowl set aside to put all the chopped vegetables in, because we're going to add them all together once the pot heats up a little bit. I also often have a little another smaller bowl for ends and compost pieces, things like that. So I'm going to cut the ends off of the onion here.
Would it be?
And then I'm going to
It might be
cut
big.
it in half,
Like that,
like along the equator of the onion, so to speak, and peel off the skin. Okay. And then some of you may already know this handy technique, but a nice way to cut onions without them going all over the place is we're gonna, similar to what we just did, we're gonna cut like 1/4 inch cuts all the way down the onion, but we're not gonna go all the way through. We're gonna go almost all the way through. So it's still attached. I don't know if you can all see this. And then you can turn it 90 degrees and do the same thing.
I'm not using it right now. I'm using it right now.
And this time you can go all the way through. Same with the other half. So this time, again, we're not going to cut all the way through, but almost. So all the cuts are still connected at one end. Turn it 90 degrees, cut again, and this time go all the way through. And then after this, if there are any like still really large pieces, you can chop it a little bit finer if you'd like.
It's not quickly.
I'm going to put all these onions in my bowl off to the side. And next, we have our carrots. And I meant to say this earlier with the sweet potato. I'm choosing not to peel vegetables. You're more than welcome to peel the sweet potato, the carrots, the parsnips, the turnip. I prefer to just wash them often because I know that they're from farms where they're grown organically. I know they don't have any chemicals you don't want in them. And also that way you get some of the extra nutrients that are closer to the skin. But it's entirely up to you. So I'm just trimming off the ends. And then one at a time, I'm going to take a carrot and I'm going to cut it in half lengthwise down the middle. And you want to be very careful about where you're placing your hand. So just hold the carrot steady and cut the carrot in half lengthwise. And the recipe calls for half moons for our carrots and parsnips. This one is, in my opinion, is a little bit big, so I'm going to cut it down in half again. Cut it down the middle again. So these are going to be more like quarter moons. And then I just turn them 90 degrees, and I'm going to just chop them down the line about, again, a quarter of an inch wide. Keeping your fingers out of the way and kind of the tips of your fingers on the top of the carrot so that your knuckles are really what's closer to the knife rather than your fingertips. Your fingers safe. And then I'll put those in the bowl. Chop the rest of these. So this one is, since it's a little bit smaller, it's not as wide as that other one, I'll just leave that cut in half. I think maybe same with this one too. I'm just gonna line them up. All right, and then cut down the line. All right. How's everyone doing with the onions and the carrots so far?
I finished cutting the onion and now I'm working the carrots. Tyler is working the sweet potato.
Nice. Awesome. All right, so now we're gonna cut parsnips. And parsnips are a cousin of carrots. They've been grown particularly in Eastern Europe for thousands of years. And oh, you have a question?
When I tried parsnips, they were all right as French fry type vegetable, but they were so bad in a soup. Like, do you recommend that and that this a way to make them work better in this dish?
Sorry.
Or do you think what do you think?
So parsnips have a bit of a mild flavor, so they're good in this dish because you get the benefits of the nutrients with just like a subtle parsnip taste. It's not too overpowering.
Okay,
so I'm chopping these up similar to how I'm chopping the carrots. And yeah, so parsnips have a lot of vitamins, which are really helpful this time of year. I for one tend to get colds around this time of year, as like with the change of the seasons. And so carrots and parsnips are good. They've got lots of vitamins to help your immune system.
Cutting up the second onion.
What's that?
I have a second onion in my bag. Am
Oh.
I cutting up two? Or was that
I think that may just be a bonus.
nice? Okay.
You're welcome to put, if your first onion was particularly small, you're welcome to put the second one in, or just keep it for something else.
Put a second onion in. 'Cause I love my onions.
Parsnip?
Don't want nutrients for it?
Well, well, I don't know. I guess it might be bad not to peel it because I guess it was peeled in the dish I didn't like, so who knows.
All right. Almost done. All right, and then last but not least of the roots, we've got our turnip. For this, I'm gonna cut it similar to the sweet potato. So taking those 1/4-inch discs or slabs again. And turnips, they've also been grown for thousands of years. I was looking up some fun facts about turnips before this class, and found that I guess they've been grown, or they grew wild in Siberia around the time that dinosaurs were still roaming the earth. So they are an incredibly old vegetable. It's pretty wild to think about.
I love those
They
turnips.
grow in that part of the world. And they also can grow to be absolutely ginormous. And the largest turnip ever recorded was found in the UK, or was grown in the UK. And it was, I wrote it down, 13 feet and 4 inches long, which is absolutely wild. Like, you have enough turnip to eat for a whole year or more. All right.
400 people more like.
Larger pieces here that I'm just cutting a little smaller. All right. All right, so we've made it through chopping the largest root vegetables. Thanks for bearing with me if you had already pre-chopped everything. So now we can go ahead and start to heat up our pot. I'm going to put this to a medium-high heat. And I'm going to add a tablespoon of olive oil to the pot.
Can I tell some of the olive oil pot? I took the pot up, certain pot on. Yeah, so you don't add olive oil to the pot.
Well, then we probably should get the stuff away from
Yeah, but you add some olive oil.
And I'm just gonna rotate the pot around so that the oil gets coated all over the bottom evenly.
Yeah, there's some olive oil.
I'm not going to measure it out.
Yeah, I know.
And we'll let that heat up for just another minute or so. And while you're waiting, you can clear off your workstation if you want. The next thing we're gonna chop up is our garlic. So if you don't have your garlic next to you, you can also grab that. We're gonna need 3 cloves of garlic.
Only 3.
You could, if you love garlic, you could certainly add more than 3 too. The really nice thing about chili is that you could more or less add just about anything that you like, and it would be delicious, in my opinion, at least. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this bowl of vegetables in the pot. And I've got my 1.5 cups of sweet potatoes here too.
I haven't finished cutting them up yet.
I was doing all this.
And I'm just gonna stir it all around so everything gets mixed evenly together. And so that things get more or less evenly coated in oil.
A couple more carrots to beat.
How are you counting carrots again?
What?
How you counting carrots?
Split them and then slice them.
All right. And I'm going to put the cover on so it helps them get a little bit more of a head start cooking down. And then we'll move on to the garlic.
Slicing that like this?
Yeah.
So another handy chopping trick, some of you may already know this one too. Excuse me. When you've got garlic cloves with the skin on, you can crack the skin with the side of your knife. So if you just put your knife flat side up and then just gently with the heel of your hand, gently push down. You're not trying to squish it. You're just pushing until you hear a little bit of a crack and then let go. And then you can just peel off the skin. It's a little bit easier than when it's still tightly around the clove.
Squishy.
I think it'll be fine.
I'll just dry it.
And then we're gonna cut off the little butts of our garlic cloves. And then chop them up as finely as you can. It doesn't have to be extremely fine, but as best as you're able. And as they get smaller and start to kind of spread out on the cutting board, you can pause, scrape it back into a pile, and keep going.
Garlic.
I want you to chop garlic quickly to make it. I should chop it into really fine pieces.
I don't know if we should
Keep the tip of your knife on the board and just rotate the handle, like sweeping to the left or to the right. Scraping it back into a pile when it scatters. I'm gonna say that's good. It doesn't have to be extremely fine. And start heating up. I'm gonna give the vegetables that were in the pot another stir. Make sure the ones that are on the bottom make it to the top. The ones that are at the top make it to the bottom. And then
Yep.
we can add our garlic in. And again, stir that around. And hopefully your kitchen is starting to smell really, really delicious. And next up, we are going to add our spices. So as I mentioned before, your spice packets are all pre-measured. So you have a tablespoon of chili powder, a teaspoon of cumin, and a teaspoon of oregano. Feel free to add less of anything if you'd like, or if you have these spices at home, you can add more. This chili powder isn't, it's not hot spicy, or it's not very hot spicy. But if you're concerned about spice, you can add a little bit less and add more to it if you want, depending on your taste. So I'm going to go ahead and for mine, I'm going to add the whole bag. And then the whole bag of oregano. And the bag of cumin.
It looks small enough, but we'll need to wait for the.
Should add it.
Yes, but we were a little late on adding the other ingredients, so I'm wondering if we should wait.
So I mentioned this earlier that this time of year might be more prone to colds with the changing of the seasons. And so dishes like this with very pungent spices help to get your sinuses moving and drain, which is helpful for me because I'm a little stuffed up at the moment. And then the last thing you want to add is a 1/4 teaspoon of salt.
Okay.
I'd say don't cut that one. Well,
Say it's got dried up. That's most part.
I guess we gotta add the garlic now.
There's no hard dried. So you want me to get using that one?
Well, we can use it. I just say we want to add it to keep up with them.
I have a question about cilantro, if I can ask it.
Sure, go for it.
We're not cilantro fans here, so I'll be looking for alternatives if you have some suggestions when we get to it.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah, so the cilantro in this recipe is just an optional topping. But you could use it to make blend it up in a salad dressing, if that sounds appealing to you. But I don't know, do other folks have cilantro recipes that they love?
I usually when I add cilantro to chili, I usually just, usually what I do is I use the powdered cilantro and I shake it in with the chili powder.
Oh.
At around the same time. But being I have fresh cilantro, I'm going to use that instead.
Yeah. Yeah, and Brooke said if you don't like cilantro, you can also sub for parsley.
Okay, but it's just a garnish in here.
It's
so
just a
that-
garnish in this dish, yeah. All right, so we've got our spices in the pot, and now we can add our canned and boxed things. So I'm gonna add the whole can of the diced tomatoes. And with the black beans, you don't need to rinse them, but just drain a little bit of the liquid, or as much as the liquid as you can. And then you can add the whole can of beans. And I know Patty mentioned she's gonna add some other beans because she's got some white beans that she likes. And you could certainly add whatever other beans you want.
Oh, I guess we're supposed to add the broth. Let me check to see how much broth we had. 4 cups. I don't know if that's exactly how much there is in there. Check.
And then we're gonna add the vegetable broth, and you're gonna use the whole container of this.
Yes, sir. Okay.
And actually, before I open it, I'm gonna just shake it a little bit.
I can move that out. Just be over right off. That open. What are you looking for? Ooh, that's looking.
Yeah, just take me time. I wasn't allergic to it. I'm not. Don't expect that.
Want it for him?
Yes.
And again,
Why should we not rinse the beans?
I mean, you certainly can if you would prefer. You don't need to because the starchiness of the liquid with the beans helps to thicken up the chili. All right. So now we've added just about everything to the pot. The last thing, oh, and I see, yeah, Patty said she smashed some beans into the chili to thicken it up because she doesn't want to add the rice. That's a good idea. So now if you want to add rice to the chili, you can, we're gonna add it directly in. If you would rather have rice on the side, now would be a good time to start prepping that on the side. And you can cook that based on the directions on the packet.
Why do you want to add the rice into the chili? Chili instead of rice.
You want to add the rice to the chili?
So why do you want to add the rice to the chili?
Oh, just because it's a nice way to eat it all mixed together. Also thickens it up a little bit. This recipe actually originally called for quinoa, but again, unfortunately with supply chain issues, couldn't get quinoa for everyone. So you could certainly try this recipe again with quinoa or any other kind of grain that you like. You could experiment with some barley or farro if you've ever had those grains.
I mean, we could try. The rice is right there.
So if you have, I believe everyone received brown rice in your DIY kit. If you got white rice, or if you would rather cook with white rice, I would give your vegetables maybe a 5-minute head start, or cook them for a little bit longer, since white rice will cook faster. I have brown rice here, so I'm going to go ahead and the 1/2 cup of rice.
The quinoa sounds delicious, and we happen to have some.
Oh, nice. Yes, if you have some quinoa at home, feel free to swap that out.
But would you wait until like the end of it because it cooks so fast?
Yeah, I might wait until the last 10 or so. So this will need to cook together for about 20 to 25 minutes. And so with the quinoa, it won't need all that time, maybe 10 to 15, depending on the quinoa.
The quinoa package says like 10 to 15 minutes, but you also should rinse it first. So you probably could get started on it and put it in pretty soon.
Yeah. So I'm stirring everything in. And now all that's really left is cover it back up, bring it to a boil. And then once it gets to a boil, we're gonna turn it back down to a low simmer and set a timer for about 20 to 25 minutes, or until the vegetables are fork tender, meaning they're not mushy, but you can get a fork nicely through them. And the rice is cooked.
It's just wrapping it. It's not wrapping it. You always unwrap it.
So
Yeah,
when
anyway.
Unwrap
we
it.
get to a point in the class where we're all finished with our chili together.
Good.
But by the time we wrap up class, you'll all be you all should have your chili simmering and almost there.
Never. It's just something like unopened. Like
No, if you don't know where the food comes from, you don't want to eat it out of a trash can.
Oh yes. True.
All right.
But
And then when your chili is finished, feel free to add whatever garnishes you want. As is, this recipe is vegan, gluten-free, but feel free to add shredded cheese on top or sour cream, some of the cilantro, a wedge of lime. I think there were some other suggestions. So, yeah, or sprinkled pumpkin seeds. Ooh, that sounds good.
I
Olive oil on top.
tried of Greek yogurt.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you
No.
don't have sour cream, you can swap
Well,
out with Greek yogurt too.
I won't add it in. I'll just add it as like a side dish.
Yep, perfect. Ooh, tortilla chips. Yeah, yum.
Oh yeah, that I was planning to have it in as well.
Okay, that's done.
Need some more, right? You don't need some more.
So how's everyone doing so far? Any questions? Do you need me to go back over any particular step?
I have this habit of eating chili with some dairy and starch product in a burrito or on baked potatoes. It is with cheese. But this is a new recipe of chili, so I will try it with corn chips before I go any further. I look forward to telling you what I think of that.
Awesome. Wonderful.
It's for the
Share-
record, probably a habit more than anything else.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna check on this. It sounds like it's almost at a boil.
I
Almost.
don't really want lime. Let's skip that.
Oh, so it is, right.
Well, in the last few minutes that we have together, does anyone have suggestions or requests for recipes for future classes?
Macaroni and cheese.
Or if not recipes, like type of like a cooking technique that you want to learn?
I would like like some for like I for I'd like to learn some more recipes next month that use some of the early spring and greens is maybe perennial, maybe annual.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
next month we probably won't have beet greens available yet, but we might. Unlikely, but we probably will have perennial greens.
Yeah, we could definitely do something with some early spring greens. I see some suggestions in the chat. How to use quinoa or couscous. Yep. Ooh, an African peanut soup, spring rolls, fun saucy things. Yum. Use that.
Most years I've done when as soon as right after the snow melts, I've gone into my yard, picked plantain, and had it with hummus or ricotta cheese.
Yeah.
And then by the time I got tired of it, the next green was available.
Perfect.
But that is an oversimplification because I did not eat a lot of that.
Did you say plantain?
Yes.
Like the greens that grow in my backyard?
Yeah.
And you mix it with hummus?
Well, I had it with hummus. I had it with ricotta cheese separately, but don't try that raw. It doesn't taste good raw.
Okay, good
You
to
have
know.
to steam it or boil it.
Okay, thank you.
Ooh, I'm seeing lots of excitement for spring rolls. Awesome. That would be a really fun one.
That sounds interesting.
And maybe we could incorporate some early spring greens into them too.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so I just turned my, if you haven't already, I just turned my chili down to a simmer. And I'm gonna set a timer for myself for, I'm gonna say 20 minutes. But the actual length that it'll take for your chili may depend on your stove. But maybe check it after 18 minutes. Ooh, veggie spring rolls or dumplings, yum. Awesome.
Wait.
Well, I will be sending out the recording of this class tomorrow, along with a little quick anonymous survey. And we'd love to hear your thoughts on how this class was, any ideas of how we can improve it, as well as more of these suggestions for future classes.
You'll get all of it out. We just seal on it. Yeah.
So yeah, you can keep an eye out for this recording and the survey in your email inbox tomorrow.
As much as cut some, but I don't want to
if I'm sure the recording will use megabytes on end of data, so could that not be could you send it in such a way that can be deleted separately from the survey if they want to do the survey?
So the video will be on YouTube, so it shouldn't use your data. You'll be able to find it on YouTube, and that way you can find it again if you want to make this recipe again.
Okay.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. And I hope you have a delicious dinner. And also feel free to, if you feel up to it, send us photos of the finished product and let us know what you thought of it.
I'm gonna garnish it with this.
All right.
Bye.
Well,
No, thank
bon
you.
appetit.
Thank you, Mitch.
Buon provecho.
Good.